Welcome to the 2 hour grind. I'm Nate. Today I'm going to be painting something. I haven't decided what yet. So today's going to be kind of about my creative process, how I work, what I do, the steps to, get to what I get to, from the beginning stages of thumbnail sketching all the way through a final watercolor painting. Hopefully, depends on the time. All right, I'm going to do my best to get through it. This is the 2 hour grind. I call it the 2 hour grind because it's something that I want to do to at least 2 hours every time. I got to hold myself accountable. I got to keep creating, right? We don't get better unless we keep creating, right? That's kind of the goal of it. So today is going to be a little bit different than my previous streams. Well, not all of them, of course. I like to switch it up every once in a while. So today is going to be a watercolor day. A little bit different, right? I'm still going to draw, still going to do all the other steps that are going to be almost the same for every other video that I do. So you're going to get pencils, you're going to get inks. Inks probably after the watercolors on top. Black layer goes down last. Same thing I do when I'm working with markers, right? I like to, put down and render and put down all the colors and things first and then go in with the black. So working, light to dark in some aspects. The rest, when you're rendering, it's light to dark, but it's all right. So chapters will eventually be down below, and hopefully I'll update the title with what I decide to draw because I'm kind of in the air. I've got a couple ideas brewing, and I'm going to kind of figure out which one it is that's going to stick and become the painting. I am going to be using grayscale paper today, so the painting is going to be on that. First, I got to come up with a thumbnail. I got to come up with ideas, right? So that is one of the first things that I always do in my creative process. And sometimes it just gets the motors turning, right? Just sketching things out, trying to come up with an idea. I can't decide necessarily all the time. Sometimes I'm like, I'm in the mood to draw. Right now, I'm in the mood to draw. Just don't know exactly who or what I want to draw. I've got a couple things on my plate as well, creatively, so it might become one of those where I just like start character design and then jump into something. We'll see. Let's play it out. Let's see what happens. Let's go. So, huge action figure fan of like G.I. Joe, Marvel, all those things. So, like every character, I'm like, it's like bouncing off the walls in my head. Like, who do I want to draw right now? I started with an idea of like maybe a Baroness or Destro. G.I. Joe's been on the radar. The Skybound books have been awesome. I like how they're tying all the Energon universes to like together. Like Hasbro, all their like ideas, all their properties. It's pretty rad. Mask is starting up soon, so. But I was going, the original Metal Face, Destro, and Baroness was an original thought of what I was going to be making today, or drawing today, or painting today, but I don't know if I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to come up with some ideas. I'm just going to sketch a couple different things, come up with a couple different thumbnails, and then, like I said, go from there. So that's going to be the first one that I'm working on. How I want them set up, what do I want them to look like, you know what I mean? Like, it's all those things. So, when you're thinking about, like, thumbnails and designs, you know, there's so many different rules out there that you can, like, look at and kind of come up with your own composition and figure out exactly what you want to do. I want kind of like a dynamic pose. That's always what I want to do. I want to make it pop off the page. However, it doesn't always happen that way, of course, as an artist. That's just kind of how it rolls. But sometimes, you get into the groove, you get something, and you actually turn something out, and that's great. But first couple sketches might not be anything to write home about. I'm just kind of getting a feel for the characters a little bit, getting a feel for like the composition that I'm going for. The view, you know what I mean, point of view, what I want it to be. Do I want it to be like a 2-point perspective, 1-point perspective, 3-point perspective, get a little bit wild. Do I want to draw them at all, right? That's like another thing. I'm in the mood, but I also had idea here. Not them at all. Different character altogether. Kind of cigarette smoke, knee up, sitting on a kind of like a loading dock. brick, not the full image. You know, the whole paper wouldn't be painted. It would just kind of be a spot paint. Maybe some graffiti on the wall or something. Who knows? That was idea 2. What else? Creative process. It happens. You know, this is like kind of one of the things that I wanted to show, right? Like part of the process is getting to this thing, getting through this part, right? Figuring out where you want to go with your art. It's alright to have a bunch of ideas bouncing them around in your head at the same time too. I sometimes can work on a couple pieces simultaneously. With watercolors, for instance, I'm gonna have to let it dry in between, right? So there's gonna be layered put down, and I'm gonna have to let it sit for 5 minutes. You guys don't want to watch it sit. Nobody wants to watch paint dry, right? No. So I will probably flip papers in and out, and that's one of the reasons I got multiple different ideas going on today. They might not all come to fruition and go like fully rendered in this 1-2 hour grind. However, if you subscribe to my channel, you might see the next part. It might come back. Who knows? Sometimes there's part 2s, 3s, 4s. So is it G.I. Joe? Like Destro. Briefcase. Who carries a briefcase anyway anymore, right? Like, come on. Briefcase full of money? Nah. Hi, how's it going? So currently kind of trying to figure out my idea of what I want to draw today, what I want to paint today. So that's part of the creative process. I'm doing a couple thumbnails, different ideas. One, G.I. Joe characters, Baroness and Destro. One, just like some girl on a loading dock smoking a cigarette sitting here in front of a brick wall and some graffiti and things. So I'm going to be working with watercolors and doing good. Thanks for asking. So I'm going to be working with watercolors, and in between layers, right, I'll flip paper and move papers around and do a couple different pieces at the same time. So just trying to figure out exactly what I want to do before I get started. Appreciate that. Yeah, it is. You know, creative process. It takes time, right? And that's one of the things that we kind of forget at times. We want it to be instant. Everybody does. Like, look, I love some artists that will just start drawing, and it's like this mind blowing thing. I'm like, how do you just do that instantly? I am planned, multi leveled. Like, this is what I do. I scribble a bunch and kind of come up with an idea, but all artists kind of work different too, which is also really kind of cool and kind of interesting, right? Maybe some Spider-Man. I don't know. Spider-Man is coming up on its 1,000th issue, which is pretty amazing. So, amazing Spider-Man, you know, why not reiterate it? But one of my favorites, and I kind of want to do a new Spider-Man piece. I feel like up on top of a building. Kind of looking off the side. Got other buildings out here. Sun shining, some clouds. I don't know. Working with all kinds of ideas, right? As an artist, this is kind of what I do. I'm like, what do I want to draw today? I didn't come into play fully loaded, right? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I want to like come up with some ideas and figure it out. So sketching some things, and they just kind of become what they become. So a couple different ideas, a couple different things that I'm gonna probably try to work on today. So I'm digging the Spider-Man, digging this one, and I'm kind of liking the Destro Baroness idea, the little GI Joe vibe going on too. So which one do I want to do for what is a whole nother question. Oh, somebody working on. That's awesome. Always love a little Jubilee. As somebody that grew up in the 90s, you know, Jubilee was one of those characters in the cartoon. She was kind of annoying, but she was kind of awesome at the same time. Her power is always like kind of weird. Um, what are you working on digitally? Like Photoshop or Procreate or what program? I always do like drawing the X-Men though. Always. Like you know, so many good ones. As I'm looking at them on my shelf, I'm like, ooh, do I want to draw one of those for my fourth thumbnail? I'm coming up with like 4 ideas, and I'm gonna stick to 2. So so many good X-Men though. I'm getting all caught up in that, and I'm like, oh, who do I draw next? Who's coming up? So Destro, Baroness, just random girl, Spider-Man. Need one more. So what's it gonna be? Just gonna have little cast shadow. Kind of like a garage door, some of those bumpers. Yeah, that's cool. All right. Oh, nice. Very cool. I've never used Clip Studio, so not sure I could help you, but that's awesome. Always awesome though. Like learning something new, and I feel like most of those drawing apps are all very similar at this point. I've used like like websites like Clucky, like there's a couple different ones, but they all are like layers, the same stuff that you can do in Photoshop and everything. Just most of the time a lot cheaper. All right, little Sabretooth, little Wolverine. You were talking to X-Men. That's kind of what the last one became. I don't know if I'll go with that, but all right. Some ideas, some things to start with. That's cool. I tried animation once too. I took a class on it. It's a thing. It's a lot of repetition, and to make it look really fluid, you got to keep drawing like so many different And I know there's what 32 frames per second or 30 frames per second in like video games or whatever it is. So every second's like 30, seconds of something. You don't have to animate everything though, right? Like after you have a person, that's why like old school cartoons, you can still see just like their mouth will be like a little bit different, and you can tell that's what's going to be moving, the only thing, and like the rest of their body still. And then newer stuff they can animate everything, especially if you're doing like more of a not traditional animation, and it's like that computer animation where that's like you just make the skeleton kind of do what you want it to do, and it kind of does it all. But that's really awesome. It's one of the things I always wanted to kind of do, right? Like I'm a huge anime fan, cartoon fan, like grew up with all that stuff, right? So like all that stuff is like amazing to me, and that's where my art style, and that's what I want. When you think about dynamic posing, and like you think about like the beginning of any animation from like the 80s, and you get like the Thundercats, and they're all doing their own thing, and they're all flying through the air, and like all of them are so sick, and that's the dynamic pose at the end every time, and that's the kind of thing that you want to like capture, that like keyframe, right? And like where's the keyframes, and then how do you get from one to the other? But animation's awesome, so good luck with that. Nice. That was fast. Good stuff. You're finishing up, and I'm just starting my first sketch. So that's awesome. I'll try turning me up a little bit. Maybe that'll work. Not that I've said anything important anyway. But thanks. Thanks for the heads up. All right, enjoy. Have a good time. Thanks for stopping by and checking it out. One of the things that I'm trying to do right now is just like set in the big shapes, get those things laid out, right? And kind of where things are overlapping, right? Bring things forward, set things back. Things have shifted a little bit here and there. One of the main things that you want to keep in mind, especially with overlapping shapes, is the direction of your cross contour lines. You want to make things feel like they're actually those forms. So, for instance, you got like a cylinder, you know what I mean? And you want to just go around the form. So I want to curve lines going one way, curve lines going the other way to make it feel like it's actually sitting, coming out at you. If that makes sense. I talk about it a little bit here and there, and I know I don't really show it because I move so fast, and it's kind of like a lot of scribbles. I work with a lot of circles for that reason. When I'm setting things up, lots of circles to kind of like, get the feel for where things are. And then I kind of go in and re-outline those and kind of get that like, whatever it might be. Arm, leg, arm. Combine in Voltron, yeah. One thing about these Pentels, these erasers, drive me crazy. I use the eraser a lot, and they will like slide down into the See if that works for a few minutes. Alright, so first layers, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Might not even be what I stick with. I might just switch it all up. But right now, this is what I was kind of drawing. Maybe it'll be nothing. Alright. So that'll stop there for now. Alright. What I'm going to actually work on, let's see. Destro or Spider-Man. They're my two. Destro Baroness. Maybe Destro Baroness. Alright, so Baroness Destro, going for this one. Two characters. A little bit different, of course. That's like the creative process. Remember, it's fluid. Like, you can change anything at any time. That's what's awesome about drawing, right? Like erasers are made to erase. You can switch things up, change things around, and the more you do something, besides the better you get at it, the more you like refine it, right? And like refine where I want the lines to be. Refine, you know, maybe this one wasn't quite the aim that I wanted them to have, and like her, I want them both aiming in the same kind of direction, kind of more unified as a team. So we'll see how it turns out. But that's what I think I'm going to settle with this one, and then jump back to the other one in between layers of watercolor. So I'm about 45 minutes in. 2 sketches done. Both are going to be watercolor, kind of on and off. Alright, so as the Destro Baroness kind of dries, I can jump over to the other one and jump back and forth. So I want to refine the sketch, of course. I really want to like kind of tighten this up a little bit. Now, like, what I'm kind of doing right now is just like a second layer. I work with 2H lead. I like the 2H a lot because it's really light. So that's what I roll with when I draw. Now I have a 7 and a 5, both a little bit finer line, right, with the 5, a little bit thicker with the 7. And I'll use the 7 kind of to put those first couple layers down. What's going on, Neo Spoon? Chilling, man. Just trying to come up with something. One of those days, I'm not really sure what I'm going with, but we're gonna make something. Make something happen today. How's it going with you? Oh man, as you oh nice, what'd you get? You gotta let me know what you got. What I was gonna say, I just saw, so I'm drawing a G.I. Joe picture of Destro and Baroness, and I was like, they just announced Tomb Raider is gonna be in like one of the new issues, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I guess Skybound got the rights to the character, so pretty interesting. And I know I sent you a picture of Tomb Raider, hence why I thought of it. But I think that's pretty cool. So G.I. Joe Tomb Raider team up is coming soon in the newest comic series. Nice, nice. You got like all kinds of stuff. I love the ink, man. Ink is like one of my favorite things to use. I use the Sumi ink, which is awesome. And nice. I don't know where my nibs are, but I always used to use one of those pens, man. So this one's just Stupid, but I like those too. The ones with the nibs. It's always cool to try new, like, you know, new materials, new techniques, check out things. All the things you said are awesome, though. I love all of them. That's it's similar though. We just don't get the Control Z, right? That's all. We just don't get that undo. But all of it works very similarly. When I approach digital, it's the same as I approach pencils. You know what I mean? I start light and I work dark. I always lower my opacity on my pen tool, like really low, or pencil tool really low to like 20 or something, and then you build layers and build lines. It all relates, man. It all relates. Touche, it does. Yes, it does. It is like, that is it. That is where it's gonna live. There's no way I'm gonna be able to see what his gun looks like, so I gotta look that up. Darn it. There we go. Oh yeah, just a little bit, man. Just a little bit, just a couple. Trying to draw his OG pistol. All right, one of the things that I tan and orange with a dog-like creature. Excuse me. There was there were a couple like European exclusive ones, and one of them had like that armor with like an orange. But I don't think I have the European one. I got a couple of the European dudes. I don't think I have that one. I don't even know if they'll show him on here. He might not have been European. So I got some of the like Tiger Force dudes. But the one I'm thinking of was like had like a kangaroo or like a bear thing with him. And that's not showing those. Maybe it's Argentina. What? Oh my gosh. If I could spell things correctly. No, not that one, but in the same wave. Now I'm like trying to find it. I think I know what you're talking about, but I don't know if I have that one. I don't think I have that. I mean, I know I don't have one with a dog thing. I don't know why it's not showing me the one though. The other exclusives. Spearhead Max. Oh, okay. I do have a Spearhead Max. Somewhere in there. He's a cool one. Don't know why I was drawing a blank on that one. But yeah, he's been around. I was thinking it was one of the exclusives for some reason with the animals. But he's not. Oh, nice, nice. My favorites were about the same. I think mine is like there was like the Alley Viper. He was like orange, bright orange bad guy, and he had like a flip down visor. That was like one of my favorites of all time, and that's probably about the same. Oh, maybe the next year, maybe 1989. I can't remember offhand, but Ollie Viper was always cool. Even though he's a bad guy, he was always like one of those ones that he just came with like a cool shield and a cool little like submachine gun and. That sounds like Outback, possibly. He was cool. Yeah, here Tori came with a big ass rifle. She's not getting that. She's getting a little handgun. All right, about an hour in, and it is still just sitting in sketch mode. So, gonna keep going. Haven't quite got to the painting portion yet. Rolling with a Destro Baroness combo 2-pack. That is the idea, at least. I still got to work on it a little bit. Still just pencils, right? Just layers of pencils. The more I go over it, the darker it'll get down, and that's kind of it. So, pencils and then erase. Pencils, then erase. That's kind of how I work. Alright, another layer down. Making some progress. Still not quite where I wanted to be. So this is how I work. Draw, erase, draw it again. That's why I draw so lightly the first couple layers. Like, there's parts that I really like, and there's still parts that are like, that's kind of off, you know, whatever it might be. So I just go light, erase, go back over to another layer. Nice. Sounds like a cool experiment, right? Like, some fish have some amazing colors to them too. Um, and once once you get the fish down, like, I love the way sometimes like light comes through the water and it hits certain things in the ground, and you get like those almost like diamond shapes that are all like reflective light on the floor, and you know the fish would probably reflect a little bit of light at times. But I think that's a cool exercise, man. Something fun to do. Drawing some fish. I How's it going, Avalon? I am currently creating a picture. It's Destro and Baroness from GI Joe. I kind of had a don't know what I want to draw type of thing happen today, so I just went with like one of the first things. So I'm gonna eventually watercolor paint it a little bit too, but that's kind of where I'm at. So if you know who those characters are, awesome. If not, that's alright. But that's where I'm going. That's cool, Neo Spoon. I'm not sure, like, what they all look like. I would go, you know, if you're drawing them, I like color. You know, I think there's some awesome fish with some bright colors, and not sure what they all look like though. So either one, that's cool. Draw the fish, color them, man. Like, try it, mix them up. Thank you, Avalon. Thank you for noticing. That is my world. And these, they're up here. They're up on this one right here. They're just really hard to see in where you're at probably. But do you collect figures, Avalon? That's cool, Neo Spoon. But that's the fun part, man, is the water part. No, no. It is cool. Like, and there's some really, like, textures and things like that that you can really focus on and, like, get a feel for when you're drawing them, right? Because they all kind of have their own textures. Even their, like, fins and things like that. Right on, Avalon. Yeah, I mean, markers are awesome, right? And one of the things, like, even when I use markers a lot, I use them quite a bit. You know, it's one of those things that I like to do. I just working your way up, building layers. Start with the lightest ones, you know, and try to get used to them and work your way through them. Try not to skip stages though, because it's easier to go darker than it is to go lighter, right? Like if you jump right into something and it's too dark, you're like, ah, shit, I can't really go backwards, you know? There's no control Z. So I always overkill it by going light, 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 you know what I mean? And building layers, just like I'll do with the watercolor paints when I get to this in a minute. Probably too many layers of a color. Avalon, that's cool. Custom figures are awesome. There are so many dope ones out there too, and like different ones that are like blank bucks that are paintable. There's no there's no way. There's no way to even come up with like a finite like that is my favorite one. I don't think that's a tough. It's a tough one. Neo Spoon, of course, man. Of course. I would definitely I recommend that. Like always scanning it. I do it all the time. I'll F up a hand or something. Like the so I drew this Supergirl the last stream I did this Supergirl and like I can't I messed up this hand a little bit. She's like wiping her like suit off after she's crawling out of rubble and like that hand just oof. So scan it in, fix it, right? Every time. That's one of the things I like to do. But favorite figure, man, that's a tough one. I would go with, let me see if I can get this to work. I think I got an answer for you. I don't know if I'll be able to get it to work. I do have some Lara Croft figures. Just the old school. Let me see if I can get this to work real quick. So they did some old ones back in the day. The late 90s. Early 2000s. They did some Lara Crofts that were actually amazing. They had no articulation at all, but they were her, you know what I mean? Like they like matched it pretty good. Then we had those terrible movie figures at one point from her, which some of them weren't bad. I actually do not have it anymore. I had one of them, but I still ended up selling it years ago. Favorite? Oh. Favorite's got to be this like Scott Bernard back there. Voltron, Robotech. He's got a motorcycle that turns into his armor. Sickest one, probably. Lara Croft, she's in this shelf. Back on the back right. You can barely see her head. She's in like a black outfit in that one, but. But that kind of worked, right? No? So, favorite ones got, I think it's the Scott Bernard Robotech Genesis Climber Mulspeda Robotech 8-inch. He's got like his motorcycle that turns into his armor. Classic, old school. I can't even remember the company offhand. Oh my gosh. Probably Bandai. There are a couple different companies that did the Robotech stuff though, so. But I think that would be my favorite. And I think, you know, the Lara Croft thing is awesome too. She's pretty sick. Super cool character. Like I was saying, they're bringing her into the Energon universe in like G.I. Joe, so in the new comics, man. You might want to check them out. They might be good. I've been hearing nothing but good things about that. I just haven't been reading it as much as I should be. Oh, sick. Play Arts makes some great articulated action figures, man. I love Play Arts. I have some Final Fantasy Play Arts. Play Arts Kai. They're pretty good. But even better if it comes with a game, right? It's also an exclusive at that point. So it's going to retain its value, hold its value for a little while at least, hopefully. That's a good question. I don't know. Is that from the new game? Neo, you in there? Oh, yeah, there it is. Yeah, it was a nice figure. Oh, okay, cool. Was the 2013 game the one where she started on the mountain? Was that long ago? No. Can't remember the last one I played, but it was like you started on a. I remember it like you started on like a mountain and you're just climbing the mountain basically in the first scenes. I don't think it was that long ago though. I think it's probably newer than that. I mean, I had the original PS, the original PlayStations 1 and 2, where you started in like the cheesy old little mansion and like had to like got a little training grounds and stuff. It was kind of cool. Nice, dude. That's what it's all about. Look, there's a good gaming, the community for gaming and like games and the collectability to it. You know, I own a lot of action figures. I own a lot of video games as well. Like they just, you know, they kind of go hand in hand in its own way. I never sold shit from when I was a kid, so they are awesome. Nice. The polygons didn't fail us, man. It was a lot of fun. The PS1 one, like, it's cheesy, it's old school, but you know, you got like the dual pistols and kind of slow flipping through the air and doing all the things. But I think it was a great, great game. That's the way to do it, Neo Spoon. I don't know if I ever played Underworld. I played a lot of her games. I don't know if I don't recall Underworld. Was that when it was a little bit different, more of like a weird angle down on top of your character? Okay. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, the tempo of it. I can't remember. There's a lot of them. There's definitely like the newer ones. A couple of the newer ones are like kind of looking, you know, like down kind of on them. And not behind them like the original ones where you're behind the character or whatever, third person. Oh, okay, okay. So not the first one that you were talking about, but okay, the second one. I got you. Alright, so right now, almost I'm almost at the 2 hour grind at this point. So like I'm gonna keep rolling. I'm gonna keep going with it for today for at least another hour. I am gonna take like a 2 minute hiatus, guys. If you're with me, hang out for a minute. Gonna make a refill of a drink, but I will be back in a minute. Continuing this 2 hour grind. Gonna get to the watercolors next, roll through that, and then jump into the inking portion. So I'll be back in 1 minute, guys. Oh yeah, 3 hour grind. Maybe I'll rename it one day. Who knows? Nah, I like the 2 hour, even though I go over it all the time. All right, so what I want to do is lay in, block in big colors first, going light from dark. So I'm gonna go light. Both of these characters though are basically black outfits, so I don't really know. It's gonna be not so much. Not a whole lot of color in here. Maybe a little bit in the background or something. Probably do a little bit of like, maybe the alarm's going off. Maybe there's some red reflection, some blue lights, red lights. One of the cool things about G.I. Joe, they always had like the blue lasers versus red lasers all the time, but you can't really see anybody else besides them. So if I did like laser blasts coming from the Joes, it would be blue. Not so much finished. Got about here. So he turned out alright. I just, didn't get to quite like that black, you know what I mean? Like that last layer would probably be it. Maybe I'll do this in between layers today. Trying to finalize him a little bit. A little bit of Lobo. Oh, cool. Well, thank you. Yeah, he didn't. I mean, it wasn't bad for like, you know what I mean. Like I said, it was in between. So, kind of what I'm gonna do it today. If I doubt I'm gonna finish this today. It'll probably be a. I'll be back tomorrow stream as well. But in between this one, I'll kind of work on this one too. She's like, kind of sketched in, but not really. So, in between the first couple layers, kind of like having that, something else to work on. Can't watch paint dry, you know? Alright. So I'm going to jump into some color. Or not so color. Watercolors. I like watercolors a lot. You can control quite a bit with it. You know, it just takes time, like anything. Even acrylics, you can use acrylics very similarly to water them down, dilute them a little bit, and kind of make those light layers. So what I want to do is just lay out early layers, go gray, black, try to build that value and make things feel like they're actually in space. The Baroness. So she's like Destro and her like the main other two bad guys besides Cobra Commander and G.I. Joe. One of the things I like about watercolors too, which is different from markers and working with other things, like you can kind of still move the water around, you know? So like where you let it dry is kind of where it's going to be, and you can kind of move it, you know? So it's kind of interesting. Like if I don't want it right there, I can kind of guide it where I want it to go. Now, it kind of has a life on its own at times too, so you kind of got to just like, you know, get your wins where you get them and roll with it. Very close. And like I said, she's coming up into the G.I. Joe, so keep an eye out. You got a comic shop over there in the Netherlands where you live, man? Wait, Amsterdam? Why am I drawing a blank? I know this. You got a comic book store over there somewhere? Or is it far away from you? I think we discussed this maybe before. I don't know. If we have, I'm sorry. Forgetful. That's cool. Good to know. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I gotta kind of let it sit now for a couple minutes to let these layers dry, and then go from there. I hear you. You know, I was going through my collection of stuff, and me too. I was looking at the boxes, so I bought a bunch of like, I have a bunch from like the early 2000s. They were like the reissues of like the 80s ones, right? And not that I don't have a couple 80s ones from when I was a kid too, but like I bought a couple when I worked, because I worked at the Toys R Us at the time. Anyway, um, and like the arts from that was like in the comic series, the IDW comic series at the same time by like Pat Lee and a bunch of other artists that were doing it. It was so good though. Like I loved it. And I was looking at it, I'm like, man, I want to draw Transformers, but yeah, I agree with you. It's like it's boxy, but it's kind of tough. Like I would not want to draw any of the like Michael Bay movie Transformers. Those are terrible. But give me the like 86 movie Transformers, yeah, I'll draw those all day. Or I'll attempt to, but I always love them, man. They're so good. Some of those designs are just so awesome too, and like nobody even knows what Soundwave was back then anymore. You know, nobody knows what little Walkman was. Nice. The masterpieces are sick, dude. They're just so big. Like that's my problem is I'm running out of room and space, so I've been getting rid of the bigger stuff and just keeping the smaller stuff. But the masterpieces are always super dope. I like them a lot. And I like those ones that like transform themselves. Did you see those yet, man? Those are cool. There's like a Grimlock, an Optimus, a couple of them. But I feel like they're like almost the same height as Masterpiece, if not really close to it. Look, I love a good posability figure, man. Like I love articulation 100%. I agree with you on that. They are kind of cool, but they are kind of lame. Like I can't actually pose them. They got like stuck in those poses that they give them. So right now I'm just kind of giving them a little bit of a blue black light. I'm doing it underneath of all the other layers. Hopefully it'll work. We'll see. Again, when I do art, it's a lot of experimenting and like trying to figure things out on my own, you know, and there's no undo button in the real world, so I just kind of roll with it. And at the same time, anything is actually fixable digitally, right? Like I can do an awful lot digitally if I need to. Who is your favorite Transformer, Neo Spoon? That's the question, man. Who's the best Transformer? Or at least who's your favorite? There's so many good ones, man. That's a tough one to choose. I'd have to go with like two different ones. I'm gonna let that dry for a minute. G1 Shockwave. Nice. Oh, cool, Avalon. What do you like to draw? Sorry, that wasn't my question to you, though. Neospoon did, but... That's cool. That is one of my weaknesses, is like likenesses. I struggle. And I don't know if it's I struggle as much as I don't, unless I guess I'm drawing from a photo, but I can't just, I couldn't just sit there when oh, nice. Okay. So paint portraits more than draw. Nice. I can't do likenesses though. Anyway, I have tried multiple times. And of course, I will continue to try multiple times. However, that is one of the areas that I struggle with. Yeah, I mean, as much as I love how oils sound, because you can go back and like just the blending and mixing, like I can kind of do it with inks a little bit, and you can kind of do it with acrylics, but because it stays like kind of wet, you know what I mean? You can kind of like mix and blend things so nice and take days to do something instead of like rushing something. I don't know. There are points when oils sound amazing. I just can't. I just don't have the time. At the end of the day, it's like I can't. Or I never tried enough because of the time. I love it. Neo Spoon, you're like the opposite of Rob Liefeld, who can't draw feet, man. It's like no hands, no feet. Don't take that as a dig at Rob Liefeld. I love. He's got his place in comic history. I actually really like him. I'll probably get flack for that, but you know, it is what it is. That's awesome. I I personally I think I need to eventually. Eventually I will venture into that in my art world, right? I've used just about everything else. That's cool. Excuse me. That's also Neo Spoon. That's like excuse me. I'm sorry. I'll be right me. Sorry. Just had like a tick on my throat coughing, so I needed to disappear for a second. All right. Nice. Yeah, finding your own style is like it's hard. It actually is really hard, especially when I like when we take influence from a lot of other artists in the world and trying to like find your own way that you draw though is like huge. And like don't fight against your hand, you know what I mean, when you're trying to draw and you're trying to draw on somebody else's style or something like we all have our natural like own fingerprint, right? Like how we move, how our wrists like pivot, right? So like all that stuff can become like it's your own voice, you know what I mean? And like that makes it so much more powerful in some ways. Even comic style, right? Like excuse me. Still got that going on. Um you look at all the different ones. Neil Adams, Jim Lee, Adam Hughes, Art Adams, right? There's so many amazing artists out there that I love that are comic artists that like all do the same shit, but like way different. You know what I mean? And like so many different styles, and that's what makes art so amazing, right? It's us, it's you, it's your creativity. FAI. Hand drawn. You get your own style. All right, I'm gonna set this one back aside. Let that one dry for the first layer. Come back over to the Baroness and Destro again. Now this is one of the things that I like. Nice, do it, dude. I'll stream one next time. Oh, we never even finished talking about that, dude. Shockwave effing rules. What the hell was there was like a Radio Shack knockoff Galaxy Man or something? It was like the same. They sold the. They sold like the mold to another company, or they just redid it and just like colored him gray and sold him to Radio Shack. They were like, yeah, it's cool. I love that gray one though too. The purple one's awesome, and I have one on my shelf. I'm pretty sure down there. Soundwave, Shockwave. Yeah, probably my two favorites. But see, I was, ah, man, I'm a sucker for all the damn movies. So like, some of my favorites actually are like Hot Rod, Galvatron, um, Jetfire. Only because it's also Macross. Dude, I love Macross. I love Robotech, right? Like the original Jetfire figure, also down there on my shelf. Is just like Robotech. So it's like so cool. So many different ways. Another super tough decision. Hard decisions all day. Like, what is the coolest of what? Nah, there is none. They're all effing cool. Dude, I mean, Galvatron's entrance, though, literally, I think he just, like, F's up Starscream, right? Carnation, he, like, puts his crown on, he, like, thinks he's all badass, and Galvatron's like, nah, dude. F that nonsense, and then 2 seconds, throws him out in space, and what he say his name was? Galvatron. So good. Perceptor. Yeah. Perceptor's awesome too. I like him so much. I think I like him a lot because he reminds me he's like almost Soundwave. He's got like that same chest that they opened. Now I want to like be like, check out my Transformers. Sorry. Yeah, Perceptor. Yeah, he's in there. I don't know. It's hard to see. I can't even aim at him. Got Perceptor. Got a bunch. Some of the newer ones. You know, only a couple of the new ones. A lot of the older ones. There's Jetfire. That's like by far my favorite. But that's because he's Robotech. You know, he's not even Transformer. Roadbuster was another badass one that's back there. That orange dude. I loved Headmasters, man. The Headmasters were so dope. There's a couple original, a couple reissues of those too, but yeah. There's some pretty cool shit out there, dude. RC, yeah, from the movie. She was awesome. Alright, Metal Face. The original MF before Doom. No, Dr. Doom was before him, but I'm talking about the rapper MF Doom. Metal Face. R.I.P. dog. I had a bunch of them at one point too. I liked them a lot. That was like when I worked at the toy stores back then. They were cool. Transformers are so good, man. So many of them are so awesome. I had like I think Optimus was like a Dodge Ram or something, a red one, and there was like the cool Subaru WRX. Crap, I can't remember the Autobot name though for him. But there were definitely some really cool ones in that series. That's right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shockwave. Actually, doesn't even look like watercolors. I know I was talking about painting watercolors, and that's just using black the whole time. So a little bit of blue, I guess, but not really much in terms of painting right now. In its own way, I guess. All right, another layer in. Keep rolling. I'm gonna run it to the 3 hour grind. It might be when I finish another day, but I'm gonna keep running it. We'll see. Or maybe I just keep going. Who knows? There's always that option too. flying shit across the way. Alright, let this one dry for a minute. Well, let me do this real quick. One more of these layers, let it dry. Jump over to the next one for a few minutes. Probably call it here soonish, but I'm getting close. So, Baroness, Destro. We're kind of creeping around the wall, right? She's kind of peeking around. He's already aiming, or the door's opening. Maybe the door's open and maybe she's sliding the door. He's already aiming, ready. You know? Not yet. Oh well, there's a little hint of blue. A little hint of blue. I blued. Give him a little blue for a highlight. But mostly the red so far. Needs a lot of more layers though. It's nowhere near done yet. So what? Why not? Why not? It counts. There's blue in there, man. I'm telling you, just gotta look for it. It counts. Alright. I'll mix a little skin tone. How's that? And then she'll get a little skin tone. Orange. See if I can do this. Little skin tone, how's that? Is that gonna work? That's a little more color. Oh shit, it's part red. Skin tone. Now I got blue, red, and a skin tone like an orangish, whatever you want to call it, peach, whatever. 3 colors. Son of a biscuit, it doesn't count as a color. That's because it's tone paper, alright? If it was on white paper, it wouldn't be gray. Thanks, Neo Spoon, I appreciate it. 3-hour grind. Alright, so in between the two, I might have to finish both of them on another stream tomorrow. I might come back and do another 3 hours tomorrow. I got the Baroness and Destro getting super close. And then I got whatever the other one is. Later, Neo Spoon. Thanks for coming in, man. Nah, it's cool. I got you. I'm gonna call it myself. So, thanks for stopping by, buddy, and checking us out. If anybody wants to see more of my art grinds, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Click that button wherever it is on the screen right down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm Neat. This was the 2-hour grind, 3 hours, and I will catch you guys on the next grind.